So we got a new martial arts film from our good friends at Well Go USA. I could not be more excited to check this one out. And without further ado, we're going to jump into the review of the new film, Blind War. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film Blind War, which is available right now on demand and digital, including Blu-ray, which we got right here. You know, the one thing I love about the good folks over at Well Go USA is their absolute belief and the fact that they continue to instill the good folks of the world with digital media. Right here, a Blu-ray disc right here in my hand. But however you got to get it, you can check it out on demand digital and on Blu-ray. You could also check it out on the Hiya app as well. But yeah, Blind War, the new film that I checked out. I was very excited to check this one out because, number one, when you go to the director, and I truly apologize by incorrectly pronouncing his name, but he is the director behind the previous film, the Nine Talisman Tower, which was great. So I definitely couldn't wait to see what he was going to come back with. But Zixiong Hu, I believe is how you say it. But nonetheless, you know, it's in the comments below. My apologies for the mispronunciation. But familiar with the body of work, absolutely wanted to see what was going to go on here. And then our star, Andy On, Kung Fu Lee, Undercover Punch, and Gun. You know, a couple of other films that I was high on. So for this one, though, I got to say, I watched it in dub. And while the film is not perfect, but if there's one thing that for a fact I knew I was going to get and that they were going to do extremely well, it was the action. It didn't waste any time on the action. I mean, maybe like 30 seconds and punches were being thrown, bullets were flying. Yeah, and with Chinese film and cinema, you know, the CGI has a certain aesthetic, and I think through the American eyes, you're going to look at it and say, the CGI is kind of wonky, but that is truly their style and their aesthetic, and it appeases their audiences. And for us watching international films, you just go with it, you know. So yeah, through American eyes, the CGI is definitely very like, okay, I can see that there, but for them, you know, it's very much like standard. So did not mind it, understanding you know, the differences between you know, film there, cinema there, and cinema in the States here. But I will say that, you know, the film totally takes some interesting creative choices, a little mind-bending at times, but the cinematography was great. That made those moments like kind of trippy, you know, and I'm not mad at that one at all. In fact, there was particular parts of this film that actually felt like I was watching a commercial. And I'm not sure if that's because of the cinematographer's background or whatnot, but it's totally moments just like this absolutely feels like a commercial. And then, you know, they did some in terms of the editing and the production and also cinematography as well too. They definitely had some moments where we were getting like scenes in black and white, and then they went and then they kind of dove into some very vivid color moments. So you got all the extremes in terms of the colors. Again, very trippy for some folks here. But while I'm talking about all the production and whatnot, we should actually talk about what the film is about. And as the synopsis states, after breaking protocol during the surprise courtroom siege that leaves him permanently blind, a SWAT captain by the name of Dong, now, as I said, now permanently blind, he retires from the force in disgrace. But while he adjusts to the new reality of being a civilian, his beloved daughter is kidnapped, forcing him to seek out an unlikely ally to help him pursue justice from the shadows. So, listen, Andy is fantastic in this, and that's without a doubt. But I absolutely want to talk about some of the other folks here, because Mang zhan, another amazing performance. And then there is a really good fight between Yang and Jang Woo. it's got to be my favorite fight in the entire film. So like Yang and Jane, the females, they come in and they lay it down. But Yang Jing performance is unhinged. It's easily my favorite character. Unorthodox, leaves you uncomfortable. It's no other way to put it, but just unhinged. You know, fantastic performance there. And with that too, you know, talk about the blind element. I wasn't really buying into it. And I'm not trying to make comparisons here, but you know, when you talk about martial arts in the eye of someone being blind, you instantly think of John Wick. And yes, that portrayal is fantastic. Here, you're not really buying into this guy being blind. And I'm not here to say that blind looks a certain way, but like, you know, if that's the element of the film, I think it's very important that the viewers completely buys into it. And there was moments where you tend to forget, to the point that I'm not saying it needs to be acknowledged every scene, but it's at points where you start to forget and you start to think that there may be other symptoms or prognosis involved here. So I just say, like, the blind element, it's a cool title. It definitely draws you, all the names and so on draws you into it, but the element didn't really add anything for me. And you know, I'll say this, like, while I say there's like some good moments and good sequences, and there's definitely moments you will react, because there's moments that you're just going to not really suspect or expect how they're going to kind of play out. There was a bit of moment in terms of like the toning continuity where there was like moments that felt very cartoonish, which I probably could have did without it, because with like the cartoonism that's in it, because at one hand things are completely brutal and serious, and then there's like this other, like, where's this comedy coming from? And it is truly focused around one character. So to the point that I'm like, if this character was removed, then that solves that problem. But it switches tones so unexpectedly, and I'm not sure if I really bought into that. But as much as I talked about the production, I mean, listen, the fight choreography, yes, amazing. Again, didn't buy much into the blind aspect of it, but the performances, as I mentioned, by Yang, Jane, and Andy, I mean, just stellar, and all the other stunt actors that was in there. I mean, you know, somebody has to take a punch, and they definitely made a lot of these moments very, very believable. So yeah, the film has great sequences, moments that you certainly will react. There's a character fighting in Yeezys. I peeped that. It's an interesting choice there, but we'll let it be. But I enjoyed this film. I think it's a solid film. It's a lot of what I expected. I'm very, very happy to have a physical copy here, because I am a true believer, and I am still to this day always going to collect me some physical media, and Will Go USA, keeping that alive. But nonetheless, it's certainly worth a watch. So yeah, as I mentioned, you have a couple of different ways to watch this. Again, on the Hiya app, as it is a Hiya original, you can get you a Blu-ray. It is available on digital today. Check it out. Jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about this one once you do. And as always, stick around for more reviews here at Big O Belt Media very soon.
Ridiculous.